All right. Hello, everyone. Tim Davis coming to you guys with another quick video. I want to take a step back and just take a glance at the bigger picture by looking at the quarterly chart. Quarterly chart, um, when you start to see a trend reversal, bigger trend reversal, it's always good to take a glance at the bigger picture and just to see if the short-term, near-term dated noise is just that, nothing but noise to get the bulls excited before their party gets totally abrupted. And I think that's what's about to happen. Looking at this quarterly chart of the SPX, okay, this dates back for decades. I want to point this out, folks, and you cannot ignore when you start to see these major signals starting to shift in the bigger picture. And I want to point back, show you guys what happened back in 2007, 2008, when look at the wins percentage. When we dip below the overbought territory, we see the market just continue to pull back in during that time frame. Okay, and that was like a sudden drop off. But if you look at what's happening now, and this is why I really believe that this is going to be an historic movement if we definitely head into a recession that could last a couple of years. Look at what's happening, transpiring now. So we see that we started to get that same type of rollover in the in the wins percentage right around the beginning of 2022, and it has not looked back since. This downward trend and this oscillator within the wins percentage has not looked back since. Okay, which hence I say that this area here is nothing but a bear market rally, a rally within a bear market, full rally within a bear market. So these last 2 quarters that we were in, they were positive for the S&P. But look at the diagonal trend line that's formed. It's like we are running into a brick wall. And while the S&P was positive, bouncing off of a strong level of support, okay, and that was a major level of support. We were right at the 20. Let me see make sure I get this right. This is my 20-period moving average, folks. So we're bouncing right off that 20-period moving average on this quarterly chart, which is a strong level of resistance. So, I mean, a strong level of support. So naturally, you're going to hit that level and you're going to bounce, which is what we experienced since October. But look at what's happening now. Even though we got the little bounce in October, we started to see this little move up. Wins percentage oscillators did not change much at all. It's continued its trajectory downward. Look at the wins CCI. We got this bearish crossover or sell signal right there back in the beginning of 2022. And it's also been trending lower. You know, the 2 lines are getting closer right here, but I think it's just another fake out. We're probably going to continue to see this head lower. And now look at the full stochastics. It was an overbought territory, no longer an overbought territory. It's now also trending lower. So these quarterly charts are also showing us, folks, that the market is still in a downward trend. We had a little blip up here. But look at these previous quarters. A little blip up here in these quarters, but they have been unable to take out these highs up here. Unable to take them out before we start to run into some problems where we're at now. Let's look at the S&P. So there's a downward trend that's still in place. It's like it's been in place for quite a while. By looking at take a step back and just looking at the overall movement and the direction of this market, even when we had these 2 little rallies or these past couple quarters. Take a look at the Dow Jones. Here's our quarterly chart of the Dow Jones. Draw this out, expand this out a little bit so you can get a closer glimpse at what the oscillators are showing us. The oscillators are here also showing us. Look at the wins percentage, rolling over effect. It's been trending downward. It's been trending downward in the wins percentage. Okay, as price tried to make a stand by getting this bounce off of this 20-period moving average, but it's petering out. It's petering out. These are pretty much it's the highest we've gotten got up to this level and really haven't made any strides. You know what I'm saying? This has pretty much been a ceiling right here. Get to that level, and then even though these 2 quarters, you see this little it's a little green candle there, but it's more like a doji, and got a little green candle form here. But look at the levels that they reached. They're all pretty much almost even, folks. So no real breakouts that you would normally see in an upward trend like this. You know, we don't see that here. We don't see that here. They're all even, which tells me to believe that we're running into a ceiling, and looks like we're about to reverse. Look at that wins percentage. It's already starting to reverse. I mean, it's been reversing since 2022 and has not turned back up to the upside. Also, I mean, the CCI crossed with the sell signal back in the beginning of 2022, and it has not crossed back over yet. Trying, but it's still like it wants to roll over. That's a look at the Dow Jones. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. So NASDAQ quarterly chart. And the NASDAQ and the Russell, what I tell you guys always pay close attention to, because they're normally going to be the leaders and what the market is going to show us. So here is the NASDAQ quarterly chart. And if you look closely at this one, again, had a nice strong quarterly rally over this past quarter. But look what it's doing, just bouncing off that 20 per moving average. And even with the highs over the past several quarters, I mean, ain't really made any huge headway. It's back to where we've been, and look at these multiple bad quarters in a row. And we get one big blip, and everybody think this, you know, it's the beginning of a bull market. I doubt it. All the signals and the indicators are still quite bearish. Stochastics, TTM squeeze still looks very negative, or momentum to the upside dying, continue to die out. Look at the wins percentage. It's been in a strong downward trend for quite a while, and it hasn't reversed. Got a little bounce here. Looks like it's ready to turn right back down. CCI is still rolling over. That is the quarterly chart of the NASDAQ. Quarterly chart of NASDAQ. There's nothing bullish about what I see in these long-term charts. Not at all. Nothing has changed. You know, we got a little bear market rally, a little rally within a bear market. But the overall setup and the overall build of what's happening in the bigger picture has not changed. We are still showing this bear market is still in full control. Take a look at one more, the Russell. Here's a quarterly chart of the Russell. Again, these longer term charts supersede the shorter term charts when we are in a definite reversal in trend, longer term reversal in trend. All right, here is a Russell, and if anything, it paints a clear picture. It's the Russell. So even the Russell tried to rally, but look at these long wicks, folks. These long wicks showing that the bears have been pushing back every quarter, and muting how high these rallies would go. So there it is. So eventually, what I think is that the bulls just not going to have any more fight, and they're going to give up this 20 per moving average. Look at the wins percentage. It has been in a strong downward move. And that's been since 2021 on the Russell. We've been in a strong downward move on the wins percentage, and it has not changed. Stochastics been rolling over. CCI crossed with a sell signal in 2022, and it's still rolling over. So, folks, there's nothing, you know, even with these rallies, you know, I sit back and I watch, and I just wait for the perfect entries. You know what I'm saying, to play this market on the downside. We're in a bear market, and this bear market is nowhere near over. So don't get confused and consumed and caught up with these short-term rallies. You know what I'm saying? Just pay very close attention to some strong levels of resistance, because they keep running into these strong levels of resistance and getting rejected. You know what I'm saying? They've been bouncing off these levels of support. Eventually, I think these levels of support, these support levels are going to give way. I think the floor is going to fall out, folks, and then we're going to break below you know, these major moving averages on a quarterly and a monthly chart. When it happens, you know, it'd be hard for you to really try to press a bullish bet, because it'll probably, you know, evaporate real quick. So stay tuned, folks. Pay very close attention. This quarter is probably going to be a very interesting quarter. We're starting to go into earnings next week. You see what happened with the banks a couple weeks ago. Is that going to bleed over into earnings? It's a possibility. You know, I just posted a article on what's happening between Taiwan and China. That situation is getting no better. It just continues to heat up. So there's a lot of there's some catalysts unfolding that can definitely continue to put pressure on this market. You see what happened with oil prices. That's going to put, you know, pressure on more pressure on CPI data. So pay close attention to this quarter. I think this quarter is going to be a very interesting quarter, and I think it may be one that's going to be won by the bears. All right, that is my take on the longer term charts and the quarterly setup. Wanted to point that out, so just to show you guys how much of a hold the bears have on this market in general, even with the little small rally we've seen since October. All right, catch you guys on the next video.